Good morning. How we doing? This fine June 10th, 2024. Welcome to the Deluxe Pre-Market Prep session. This is where we go over all the important news, notes, analysis for this week, laying out the expectations for what the market will bring to us this week. Any economic data, if we have Fed minutes, if we have Powell speaking, all of that we go over on Monday. So Monday is the most important day to be here. Every day it's important to be here because we're going over basically how you should think about the world, the news that's coming in from the world, as well as how you should think about that news in order to live life effectively as an adult in 2024. But specifically on Monday, we're going over what happens this week. And that can be the difference between you having an amazing week, you having the best week, the best trading week of your year, or you having the worst trading week of your year. All of that happens with how you prepare. So this morning, we'll start out with the week ahead, go over that news, and then we'll get into our Monday specific news. We're here each and every day for one reason, and one reason only. That's to get 1% better. Right? Kaizen, that is the motto. And that is actually the sponsor of this morning's session and every session moving forward. We've got a live Kaizen event, AI focus, stocks on day one, AI stocks on day one, day two and three, all other AI stuff, tools that are absolutely necessary to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be, because AI is such an essential part of what we get done each and every day now, that if you know and if you're knowledgeable, you'll be able to provide so much value within whatever sector that you work in. And the importance of you learning that now and not struggling to learn it once it's time for job cuts or it's time for promotions, and they look at you and they look at that guy whose job is A, but he can do A, B, C, and D because he knows of AI tools that allow him to do B, C, and D competently and quickly and effectively. Who do you think they'll promote? Right? So putting yourself in the best position moving forward is part of the honor that it is being alive, right? Like, you could have been a caterpillar, you could have been a rat. You're not, right? You're a human, which means that you were put here with the ability to do what's necessary to survive and thrive as a human. And learning these skills are now one of those things, right? Just like learning the internet or learning how to drive, right? It's one of those things where, can you survive without it? Yes. Do you want to? Probably not. It will be a lot harder for you and a lot more niche of an area for you to be living in and operating in to not, become abreast of this new technology. And why not make life easier for yourself? Not only with the job you already do, but easier in terms of like your ability to go out and start a new side hustle, make more money, branch out, maybe discover something that fulfills you. There's an answer to every question. You just haven't come across it yet. So put yourself in new environments to learn about new things, and maybe you'll find that thing that makes your heart sing. Now, cheesy rhymes aside, let's dive into our news for the week ahead. Top news, it's a big test this week to see what holds the most sway on the markets. Is it the Fed or AI? The Federal Reserve's June decision arrives along with its updated projections for the path of interest rates, inflation, and economic growth. The Fed statement and Chairman Jerome Powell's press conference are due on Wednesday, with the market pricing in a near certainty of no move on rates. The dot plot will be the main focus, coming off the strong May jobs figures. The markets are now pricing in only 1/4 point cut in 2024, with the odds of a September 1/4 point cut falling to 50-50. Now, before the bell on Wednesday, the market gets the May CPI figures. Economists forecast a 0.3% month-over-month increase in the core inflation rate and a drop in the annual rate to 3.5% from 3.6%. A significantly hotter or cooler number could see some volatile repositioning, especially in bonds, ahead of the afternoon Fed release. But on the AI front, focus will be squarely on Apple's WWDC event, Worldwide Developers Conference. For those who don't know, Apple kicks off its annual developers conference on Monday with a keynote address that is perhaps the tech giant's most widely anticipated speech since the iPhone was introduced nearly 17 years ago. Analysts say it's a pivotal moment as the company starts a new AI-driven chapter. If all of these companies are making that pivot, that means you have to make that pivot too. These are the most valuable companies in the world. These are the companies that are leaving marks, right? These are the companies whose names will be remembered in history. If they are making moves toward a certain sector, you should also be making moves toward a certain sector, right? People sit here and they say, I don't know what to do, right? Lord, show me the way. He is showing you the way, right? It's very apparent. And at the end of the day, no miracles ever happened anywhere in any text without action. Nowhere. Doesn't matter, what religion you're a part of or anything. All of these different stories, right? All of these different parables, miracles happen as a result of action. It wasn't just like anybody sat there, right? Even Jesus said, pick up your bed and walk, right? Everybody had to do some action, go wash yourself off in that dirty river, right? Everyone had to do something in order to get through their storm. And yet we think that we could just do nothing and hopefully the storm goes away, right? That's not how it works. It always takes action. Even with these companies, Apple, the most valuable company in the world, right? At a certain point, not anymore, but at a certain point, do they just sit there and say, "Oh, we're the most valuable company. Like we're fine where we're at"? No, they're constantly moving and innovating and changing, and that's part of life. You say, "Well, when do I get a chance to rest?" Each and every moment that you're sitting here in the present, you have that chance to rest. Rest in the fact that you're pushing, you're moving forward, you're getting better, you love where you're at, right? But in terms of like extended rest, yes, you can take vacation and stuff like that, but there's also times when it's time to lock the heck in. You got the NBA Finals going on right now. You don't see Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum. Like, well, Jason Tatum maybe because I don't think he's built. I don't think he's built like that. Like he thinks he's built. But you don't have them like, oh man, during this crunch time in history, I think I need a break. Now, man, this is crunch time, and again, you could have been a caterpillar, you could have been a rat, but instead you're a human now, which means that you were sent here with the tools to thrive now at this specific dispensation in time. But don't think it'll just happen, right? Even Apple right now is in a mad scramble to get done what they need to get done. We should be the same way, right? It doesn't have to be a mad scramble, but at least you are taking moves, right? Making moves and taking chances and putting yourself in the position to evolve. Um, but WWDC, right? We're gonna have all eyes on that. A lot of times, just disclaimer: Apple like will typically sell on the day of the event itself. You might get a run up until the day of the event. Maybe this week will be different because if they do make, major announcements, then it would be different, right? There's rumors of them with a deal with OpenAI, right? If they can work with OpenAI to maybe develop Siri or something like that, like then, that might be news that once it's broken can cause the stock to push. But for the most part, during these Apple events, Apple does not go up during the day of the event. It might have like a spike here or there, but ultimately it ends up being sold off. That's just statistically what's most probable to happen. So again, that can be different. We haven't lived in a time in which they're unveiling anything AI related this big. So could skyrocket. I don't know. I'm just letting you know what's happened in the past. Let's see here. And Tesla shareholders will meet on Thursday during the company's annual meeting to vote on 12 proposals. The proposals include the high profile proposal of ratifying Elon Musk's compensation under the CEO pay package. That was previously approved at a special meeting in 2018. The earnings schedule for next week includes reports from Oracle, Broadcom, and Adobe. Those are all important. All three of those companies are important, and all three of those companies are involved in the AI space. Zeekr Intelligent will also publish its first earnings report as a publicly traded company. So Oracle, Broadcom, whose ticker is AFCO, and then Adobe. Those will all be kind of fun earnings to keep an eye on this week. Oracle reports on Tuesday. Rubrik reports on Tuesday as well. We've got Broadcom reporting Wednesday. Dave & Buster's reporting Wednesday. And then Thursday, we've got Adobe. So Adobe reporting Thursday. So some fun earnings, some fun AI-related earnings this week. Let's see here. Volatility watch. Options trading volume has moved much higher on NVIDIA ahead of shares trading at their split adjusted price on Monday. Yeah, first time NVIDIA will be, trading at its split adjusted price. Typically, after a split, the stock goes down, right? Like outside of just the stock splitting, so it naturally has to go down. There's never a bad time, quote unquote, to buy NVIDIA though, at least as of right now. So for everybody who's like waiting, like, oh, maybe we'll get the dip. Like no one ever actually buys on the dip, and that's what's tough. Like I saw this funny picture, maybe I'll repost it. If it was like, SPY was at five something and everyone's like, no, I'm not going to get it there. And then it drops like to five, like $15 lower. And they're like, oh, I'm definitely not getting it there. And then it goes back up to new highs. And they're like, oh, I can't get it here. That's all this is. When you don't know where the heck to buy a stock, all you're doing is missing out nonstop. Just get into a community that knows where the heck to buy at what time and can execute, right? Knows when to take profit. Save yourself the headache. You waste so much more time and money just being like, oh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. And then you don't have the patience to back it up because you have no confidence in what you do. Imagine if you hopped in a car, you had no idea if it would start or if it would blow up. Do you think you drive that car well? No. That's how a lot of people treat investing, right? And trading. They're like, I don't really know at all. what I'm doing. I have no plan. I have no game plan. I have no directions. I have no map. You can't expect to do well like that. And then you sell it, and then what happens? It skyrockets. Why? Because you got in at the top instead of getting in on the retracement. And you sold right there at the bottom, and then we rocketed up. So don't continue to, subject yourself to that. IPO watch. We've got a few different companies that are that are IPOing. One of them specifically, I am interested in, not to buy the IPO, but I'm just interested in the company, and I'll be talking about them on the Kaizen event, right? June 19th through the 21st. We are 9 days out. www.I'mBetterDaily.com. Make sure you get your registration done. Get that in there, and let's crush it. It's going to be an amazing 3 days. Investor events. The event calendar this week includes more than just attention-grabbing Apple and Tesla events. Amazon will hold its 3-day AWS Reinforced Conference. Let me see. Why the heck is my phone going crazy? Let me put this on D&D. There we go. So we've got AWS, Tesla, and Apple all with events this week, and Powell speaking on Wednesday, and a Fed interest rate decision on Wednesday. So it's a packed week. We're back to packed weeks after last week, not being a packed week. We're back to it. AWS Reinforced 2024 will cover the following tracks: data protection, identity and access management, threat detection, incidents response, network and infrastructure security, generative AI, governance, risk and compliance, and application security. The conference is a way to explore and gain competence in AWS security services. And then we've also got all these other random stocks that, have investor events. But this is one of the reasons why I chose the date that I did for the challenge, was because, right, for this 3-day education event, was because we had these different big tech events that were going to shed even more light on what the Magnificent Seven plus NVIDIA are doing when it comes to updates in the AI space, so that we're aware of it and can help position our long-term portfolios to best benefit as well. Now, as we go into this fine Monday, going to go over our Monday specific news as well. So let's hit it. Alicia said, please do something with Siri. Yeah, Siri has been a chronic underperformer for a number of years, and it's sad. I mean, she used to be so helpful, and now, but I mean, I don't even use her anymore. Like that video that I posted on Facebook, that's what I use. Like the Voice GPT app, that's what I use nonstop. Like that exactly is what I use, and that also is what I use. If you want to like envision what I was doing on Saturday morning before I went to play pickle with the family, it was literally just me, that voice app constantly open, and then just like I had my presentation open, but I was walking around the room just talking to GPT 4.0 like Iron Man talks to Jarvis, and I was just like, all right, this is how we're breaking it down. Just breaking down like the content, what I'm going over. Okay, this is what I'm going to keep. Actually, we're going to eliminate this. And it was just like, it's crazy. Like I had to stop, and like it almost brought me to tears, because it's just like you used to like think about times like we're living in now, like when you were a kid, and just like that was the future, but the future is literally now. And you have these assistants that can just help you do so much. Like the amount that you can get done, and the level of work that you can get done, like nowadays, in the time that you have, is crazy. Like it's absolutely crazy how much you can do, and I'm excited as they continue to level it up and stuff like that. But you literally feel like Iron Man. Like I'm like, all right, like here, let's go on this section 1B. All right, this is what we're going after. Get me this, right? Get me that. It's freaking crazy. Feels like existential, like out of body moments where it's just like, bro, what is happening? Top news: election season. So we're going into our Monday specific news. The first Wall Street Breakfast edition of 2024 was called the year of the election, and things are rapidly changing across the globe as investors edge closer to the middle of the year. Some recent political shakeups have been seen in India, South Africa, and Mexico, while things are starting to shift in Europe as well. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has called a general election for July 4th, while results are still being digested from the European Parliament elections over the weekend. So how it works: European parties are basically big tent movements, with national parties from the 27 EU member states teaming up to form 7 major European political groups with representation based on population. It's a big deal as the 720 lawmakers in the European Parliament approve the union's budget, negotiate EU laws, and approve the president of the European Commission in a vote that will take place on July 8th. After all, it is the year of the election. The remaining 27 commissioners are chosen by their respective countries under the European Council, which sets the bloc's political agenda and will be approved by yet another vote in Parliament on December 19th. Now, the biggest gainers from the last election were the EPP, which will be the largest party in the parliament with a projected 189 seats, as well as the Identity and Democracy Group, which are known for their nationalism and Euroscepticism, and would have seen even bigger gains if Germany's AfD wasn't kicked out of the party several weeks ago. Protein, fruit. Now, the biggest losers were the Greens, which champion environmental and climate protections, as well as Renew Europe, which is known for its pro-European and liberal stance. Looking at things on the political spectrum, the EU as a whole shifted more to the center right, conservatives, and even far right, which can bring a major shift to the bloc. I mean, that's what right across the board. Politics is like a pendulum. We go back and forth, right? We've got the first black president, and then we get a major swing back to the right, with Trump, and then we swing back to the left with Biden, and then where are we likely going to go in this next election? Back to the right with Trump. It's not like I support him. It's not like I really, outwardly support one or the other. It's just history and statistics, right? You know how people move. Anger and annoyance moves people much more than like inspiration or kind of maintaining the status quo. And that's why whatever group didn't get their way comes in stronger that next election. Um, Already happening immediately after the election, French President Emmanuel Macron called for a snap parliamentary election, while Belgian Prime Minister De Croo resigned following a heavy loss. There were also big gains for the right in Germany and Austria. So we've got just a horrible mix kind of happening here. I mean, I think that right and left, it's all a big distraction, right? To keep us all just subservient and just distracted from what matters in life. We're over here, arguing about this or that when really both sides pretty much do the same thing. And it's not even like we're on different sides. Like we're literally one species trying to survive with limited resources and all these different things going on. And yet we're too caught up on like what your stance is on somebody's gender or this that and the third. It's like it makes zero sense, and these are adults acting like this. At the EU level, centrist parties like EPP, S&D, okay, we already talked about that. But the thing is, like with all the kind of far right elections, you get to this point where economically we see this even further increase of protectionism, right? Which is something I talked about as one of the big factors that have been influencing markets. Haven't been mentioning them as much recently, but they're still alive and well, right? This kind of decrease in globalization where it's not like, all right, you make corn the best, I make cheese the best, he makes beef the best, and we're all going to make what we make the best and send it to each other. Now it's the supply chain sucks. I'm mad about all these people immigrating to our country. I don't want anybody or anything from outside of the country that I don't absolutely need. I'm going to make what I need and I'm going to keep it here. You make what you need and you keep it there. And the world is just dividing up, right? And you have that happening too at a time of like increased tension when it comes to war and conflict as well. All this is doing is pointing toward the fact of like things not getting like any easier from where we are, right? What's tough about like you starting to home grow stuff is that there's a very uncomfortable portion where you start like have to build up the infrastructure and the processes in order to do what you need to do at a high enough level for you to not need other people. Now, AI will definitely help that. And that's why it's so important for you to know how to integrate that into your workflows. If you're the person that brings that to your company, you are like Superman, right? Because the company now is like, we got to figure out a way. We're not importing this stuff from China anymore. We need to make it all ourselves. We don't have the ability to do that. What can help you bridge the gap? Artificial intelligence is just used to augment human intelligence. So put your God-given talents and gifts to work by giving yourself awesome tools to use, right? Imagine construction workers back in like ancient times. They're like, dude, if I just had something that could lift all of this stuff at once, like a crane, like we'd be invincible. It's the same thing. You might be that person who's just looking for your crane, looking for that right tool, and then you get that tool and you go absolutely crazy. I'd be looking all over the world until I found that tool that let me feel like, wow, I'm finally rising and aligning with the higher self that I felt like was in the inside of me this whole time. Because there's so many people that are sitting here walking around feeling empty like they're not themselves because you have not found what allows you to fully express who you are deep down on a soul level, right? On a soul and a cellular level, who you are, a lot of people don't know, right? And they don't have any means to express that. Go out and find your means to express that thing so that you can feel that fulfillment because we're only around once and it's only for a short time. And a lot of people died never figuring out, okay, what actually made me feel good, what made me tick. And it could be just a matter of being in the right room at the right time to find something that really goes, wow. Right. Just like when I was in that room when I went to go see Kevin O'Leary speak, and then I hear a guy get up beforehand talking about stock options. I'm like, wow, I love always knowing what's going on in the world, and I love having to evaluate humans and how they move, and I love like kind of being involved in betting on myself, and I'm competitive, and all this stuff, and that was just an agglomeration of all those things, and I was like, this seems like something that would just be so me and just pique my interest. Never would have figured that out if I had not been in that room, which I had to travel for, I had to pay for, and I had to sit down, and I had to take notes, and then I had to take another leap after that, right? But you don't really find those miracles sitting still. So for everybody listening to this, whether it's me or it's somewhere else, right? Take action and get in motion. Um, because things are changing, right? And so far right now, it's looking like a far right sweep is making its way across the world in a wave. Um, Energy and agricultural policies have already come under pressure amid a cost of living crisis and weak economic growth. National defense spending will be notable due to migration fears and border security, while industrial policy is also in focus due to rising competitive measures in the United States and China. Now, tech news, the AI game, Apple will kick off its annual Worldwide Developer Conference today with a keynote address that is perhaps the tech giant's most widely anticipated speech since the iPhone was introduced 17 years ago when I was but a wee boy. While the event isn't usually a catalyst for the stock, the fact that the conference is likely to focus on Apple's generative artificial intelligence plans could prove significant for investors. An AI-based Siri upgrade, Apple's OpenAI partnership, and new features that will allow users to run generative AI commands on the iPhone itself are anticipated to take the spotlight. This is going to be so much fun. Going to be so much fun. Notably, Apple is not expected to unveil any new hardware at the event. Yeah, we don't need hardware. This is the time of the software, right? I mean, yes, there is some really awesome AI hardware that is coming out, right? Only one piece that I've actually purchased myself. Waiting for that. That's a waitlist thing, but you kind of want to give it a few generations to get it together. But I do really like the way that this piece of tech works, and maybe I'll go over it, or I'll just send it out to event registrants, or we'll talk about it later. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. Once you're a part of this community, we just continuously move and level up. So once you get in, the opportunities come to you. But I'm very excited for that piece of hardware. Other than that, though, it's the era of software, right? Upgrading what your current hardware can do to make it even more valuable within this super competitive landscape. So, aviation news: Activist Airlines Elliott Management has reportedly accumulated an almost $2 billion stake in Southwest Airlines, whose ticker is LOVE (LUV), and plans to push for changes. Although the exact details aren't known, the activist, who is expected to engage with top brass at Southwest, is one of the carrier's largest investors. The news sent shares of Southwest soaring 6% in pre-market trading, but the stock has underperformed its rivals year to date, falling nearly 4% compared to Delta's 25% gain and a 28% rise by UAL. Southwest, once considered the most profitable airline, American Airlines, suffered a wider than expected loss last quarter as operating expenses weighed on profitability. Now, automotive news: safety scandal. Five Japanese automakers have been accused of falsifying safety test data when applying to certain models, when applying to certify certain models, in a scandal reminiscent of Volkswagen's 2015 Dieselgate. Toyota, Honda, Mazda, Suzuki, and Yamaha were directed to suspend shipments of the models, sending their shares tumbling last week. Japan also raided Toyota's headquarters, dealing another blow to the automaker that is facing governance concerns as well as safety testing issues at its unit Daihatsu. While Dieselgate, which violated U.S. clean air laws, eventually led to $30 billion in fines and damages worldwide, the current scandal has fueled calls for a review of overly stringent rules. Now, in terms of today's markets, in Asia, Japan, we're up 0.9%, Hong Kong closed, China closed, India down 0.3, London down 0.3, Paris down 1.8, Frankfurt down 0.7, the Dow down 0.2, S&P down 0.1, Nasdaq down 0.1, both basically flat, crude up 0.1, gold down 0.4, Bitcoin up 0.1. What else is happening? Merger Monday, oil driller Noble to buy Diamond Offshore. You guys know how that goes. Noble, ticker NE, will probably drop. Diamond Offshore, ticker DO, is probably already up. Responding to user protests, Adobe clarifies new AI terms. That'll be another thing, right? You'll get a lot of updates in terms of terms and conditions that are going to be sent out over the course of the next, year and a half. And that's all I'm going to say on that. And it's going to be to harvest that data. Major push to stop new private sector coal financing ahead of COP29. Virgin Galactic, ticker SPACE, completes final spaceflight before Delta debut. Tesla will not launch a refreshed Model Y this year, says Musk. $56 billion pay package irks world's largest sovereign wealth fund. Bad Boys Ride or Die tops the weekend box office. Oh, that came out? You want to see that. Walmart, ticker WMT, opposes store panic buttons due to false alarm risk. Yeah, I can already see it now, right? I'm not a TikTok guy. I'm really never on TikTok, but I could already see the TikToks or the Instagram reels of somebody like hitting the panic button in Walmart and then running out, for views and likes. Looking to reverse fortunes, Teladoc Health, ticker TDoc, names new CEO. And then still volatile, GameStop on watch following Roaring Kitty's return. Yeah, that's where we're at. Kicking off this new week. Let me also check the economic calendar as well. So Monday, nothing scheduled. Nice. Tuesday, nothing really. Wednesday is the big day. So I feel like we could see, maybe not a whole bunch of movement Monday, Tuesday, which is never fun, but it is how it is. Just expect it to be a little stale, a little dry. And then if you do get a good opportunity, cool. But if not, like that's what you were expecting. Because we have CPI and we have FOMC interest rate decision and we have Powell on Wednesday. So you guys know my deal, right? Like, if that's the case, then you come ready, locked and loaded for Wednesday. You already know how we trade those days. Fade the first move, right? Fade the first move, be ready to execute, be ready at that time, and then make your money. You can make all the money you need to make for the month in one trading day. You can make all the money you want to make during the week in one trading day, but be freaking ready for it, right? And Monday and Tuesday, there ain't crap going on. Go back, look up the dates of the past FOMC days and trade them using that, I forget what it's on-demand feature on Thinkorswim, right? Go back and trade those days live, trade them live, and then say, okay, this is what I need to be ready for on Wednesday. This is how it's going to work, right? Because a lot of times people, I was kind of nervous, so I wasn't. Why nervous, right? Why nervous? Go back, trade the last 5 FOMC days. You can do that over the course of these next 2 days. Go back and live trade them, right? Live trade them, let it go through, trade it like you would normally be trading. And then that way you know what to be prepared for, right? You know how things will move. You won't be taking profit too early. You won't be holding too long. You'll have an idea of how things move and how they work. You don't have to only get experience live, right? Live and in person. That's the amazing thing is about all the tools that this world has to offer. And that's what even in the medical industry, they're figuring out, right? They're running these insane models that literally are so sophisticated they can behave like living cells so that we don't have to actually like kill animals for all my like PETA people out there, right? We don't have to kill as many animals testing stuff on them because we can already tell how living cells will react based off of how accurate these AI models are. So it's like use the tools and then you don't have to go through the actual pain yourself. But you've got to be aware of the tools and you've got to take the time to utilize the tools. Don't sit on your butt Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday comes around. You're like, I actually wasn't ready, but I'm going to be ready for the next one. Well, next week, don't we have Juneteenth? Right next week, the week of the challenge. So we got Juneteenth next week. Is the market closed? I'm pretty sure the market is closed on Juneteenth as well, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to have it because I knew it would be a slow week. Let's see here. I believe it is. Yeah, no trading. Right. So don't be that guy that's like, oh, I'm gonna chill. And then Wednesday comes around and then you miss Wednesday. And then next week is a holiday week and the holiday's in the middle of the week, right? And then you get antsy and you start like making the wrong moves. That's how you blow up an account. So we'll be on it this week, right? Speak that into existence. Thursday, jobless claims. Oh wait, that's next Thursday. Excuse me. Thursday, we do have initial jobless claims. Then we get PPI data. So CPI, Wednesday is the biggest day. Wednesday, Thursday. two biggest days, but Wednesday for sure. And then we get consumer sentiment on Friday. So Wednesday, the big day of the week, most definitely. That CPI and FOMC on the same day, that's significant. But that's pretty much it. We'll wrap us up on this fine Monday, June 10th, 2024. Let's crush it this week. Let's move with intention. Um, I mean to express. Thanks for saying all this. Of course, Clean. Look, we're here to push and inspire each other. Y'all inspire me just like I inspire you. So let's make sure we make some inspiring moves this week. Let's move with intention. Let's execute. If you're not, make sure that you are going to be in that virtual room June 19th to the 21st. Don't wait and say, oh, I heard Adam say it, and then now it's finally over and I wish I would have done it. You still have the opportunity to do it. Execute. Watch how the doors open for you. I'm excited to be a part of it. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back here for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.